Hey everybody, Gary here with Guitar Tricks, and in this video, I want to go over add 9 chords. So these are beautiful chords that just require you to add one note to your basic major and minor chords, and that one note is so colorful, has such a cool vibe. To me, it elicits all sorts of new emotions. You heard that little intro jam. All I played was a C add 9 and an E minor add 9, and I had a lot of fun just jamming over those two chords where I might not have had as much fun if it was just a regular C and a regular E minor. So I'm just going to show you how to take some of your basic open chords and turn them into ninth chords. Once you understand the theory a little bit, you could start finding them all over the neck. It's just a matter of adding that one note. But before we get into it, please go ahead and click subscribe so that you get all of the latest and greatest content from Guitar Tricks. And if you want to be notified of any new lesson, be sure to also tap the bell and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see in future lessons. That's where we're always looking for ideas. Also, if you're looking for more beginner tips, head to guitartricks.com/add9. There's a link to that in the description below, and there you'll find our free ultimate beginner guide, which includes an essential chord chart, a practice plan, and so much more. There's tons of other links to more guitar lesson topics, so head to the description, click that link, and learn more guitar. All right, let's get into the lesson. So let's start by looking at a C chord. So here's a regular C major chord. And if you think about the notes, there's only 3 notes. Even though there's 5 strings, there's only 3 notes. There's C, E, G, and then another C, and then another E. Now the C is the root note, the E is the 3rd, C, D, E, the G is the 5th, C, D, E, F, G, the root, the 3rd, and the 5th, C, E, G, and then another root, C, and then another 3rd, E. So an add 9 chord is where we add a note called the 9th. Now, if we think of chord structure, we move in thirds. So that means we have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. So if we count from C, if we attribute a number to each letter of the alphabet, watch what happens. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. The note D is the 9th, right? So if we were going to build in thirds, we would have C would be 1, E would be 3, G would be 5, B would be 7, and then D would be 9. And another way to think about it is that the 9th is just one note up from the C, one note in that scale, C, one note up, and that's a whole step. So if we think C is 1, if we were going to play the C major scale, for instance, it's C, the next note is D. So the 9th is always up a whole step from the root to find what the note actually is. So C up to a D. So if we look at this C, we go from a C up to a D. So instead of playing this, we're going to take this double C. We don't need that C because we have this C. And we're going to replace that C with a D. So now we have this. Cool, right? And we could also grab this G because that's, as we know, part of the chord C, E, G. That's the 5th. So we could just play the middle 4 strings like this. We could play the high E string. And then a lot of people like to play the G as well on the 3rd fret of the high E string. So that's a C add 9. It just has another color, a little more vibey, right? Like a little sweeter than just this, right? This is basic major sound. This is a little sweeter, more ambiguous. It's inviting another feeling, right? So there's a C add 9. Okay, we could do it with other chords. Let's say we had a D major chord. Well, what I'm going to look for is, where do I have 2 Ds? I have this D and I have this D. I don't need that D, so I told you the 9th is up a whole step from the root. So I could go like this. There's a D add 9. The C add 9 is really popular for a reason, because it's easy. A D add 9, it's a little more complicated. I got to bar the 2nd fret of the 1st string and the 3rd string, and then add a 9th on the 4th fret of the 2nd string, counting toes to nose with my pinky. Right? Let's say I had a G major. Well, I'm going to look for a double root note. I got this root note. Do I need the open G string? No. So what I could do is play the 2nd fret on the G string, and what I'm going to do is just mute out the A string, and now I've got this. Pretty cool, right? So let's say I played all 3 of those. C add 9, D add 9, and now G add 9. Cool, right? Let's take an A minor. Well, I could take this double root. This is it. We already have the open A, and then we have an A on the 2nd fret of the G string, and I'll replace that by going up a whole step. So that would sound like this. Really difficult though. It's much easier on an A major. On an A major, it would look like this. Right? Because it would look just like the D. And then here it is on the A. Nice. Now let's look at an E major. Well, we have the open E string. We don't need that one because we have this E and we also have this E. So I'm going to go up that whole step to get the 9th. And there's an E add 9. Right? Or let's say E minor add 9. Here's an E minor. And that's the chord I played in the intro. So in the intro, I just arpeggiated it. And then I went to a C add 9. And then I made a loop out of it and jammed over it. So those are add 9 chords. We just take a basic major or minor and we add the 9th, which you could find by just thinking of the root and going up 1 letter and making sure that's a whole step. So if C is the root, the 9th is a D. So you take your C chord, you add a D. If G is the root, the 9th G to A is an A. So you take your G chord, you add an A. If it's a D chord, you take your D, go up 1 letter, it's an E. So I take my D and I add an E. But be careful, if it's a E chord, I don't add an F. F is up 1 letter, but I gotta go up a whole step. 1 letter, but it has to be a whole step. A whole step from E is an F sharp, right? So just keep in mind, you're going up a whole step from that root note. Let's take an F major. Here's an F major. It's actually easier to play an F add 9. We just play this F major triad, 3rd fret of string 4 with the ring finger, 2nd fret of string 3 with the middle finger, 1st fret of string 2 with the index, and then pinky on the 3rd fret of string 1. Right, we're taking this F going up to a G because we have this F. We have F, A, C, F. We take that F, go up to a G. Right, and I played that voicing in the intro like this on a C. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that lesson. If you want to learn more about playing guitar, head over to guitartricks.com. There's a library of high-quality song lessons, step-by-step courses in guitar fundamentals, blues, country, rock, and so much more. Happy playing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.